I asking you questions as well?
No, I'm gonna lead you through a beautiful conversation. It's gonna be very natural, and more often than not, it goes off the cuff because you'll say something and I'll be like, "Oh, can we dive into that?"
Yeah, I love it. I'm excited.
Let me just check. I'm echoing. It's not going to happen again. Okay. Do you have headphones by any chance? No. Is it going to make it worse or better?
I don't. I had headphones.
It's okay. It's okay. The sound is not so bad.
Okay.
We should be right. No, you don't need to be louder. You're actually perfect.
Okay.
We're recording is on. Samantha Appel. I love your name. The Appel you just made my day. Okay. Sorry, last second. If you need to pee, get water. Now's your chance.
It's all good, babe.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Welcome to another episode of the REBEKA1 podcast, where we talk everything business, love, and science. Today, I am joined by the incredibly talented Samantha Appel, the founder of The Skin Bar, and a pleasure to also call her a friend. So I am so deeply honored to talk to you today because this is going to be such an inspiring conversation for so many in your industry. So thank you so much, Sam.
Thanks, Beck. I've been very excited to come on today, and it's a pleasure knowing you and having you as a client and now as a friend as well. So I'm excited to dive deep today with you.
Oh, yes. Most importantly, client. This is why I'm glowing. We were just talking about it.
The transformation is real.
You know what? We'll actually talk about that a little bit later because I want to share the transformation of my skin a little bit later, and we do actually dive into the amazing business that you've created. But there's a story here. You've been through a world of experience. This isn't an overnight success. This is an incredible journey and a reputation that you've built over time. And I want to talk about it because I want to break the stigma of what people think running a business is, that success happens overnight, especially in an industry like yours, which is service-based. It's complicated. It is personal, and it is a commitment that is very difficult to express at times. So let's talk about context. I would love you to share your story and a little bit of background of what led you to where you are now.
Great. Okay. Back to the start. So, I founded the Skin Bar now when was it? First clinic opened in 2020. And if you look at the business now, I've almost got 5 clinics throughout Sydney on a pretty rapid growth expansion at the moment, with more clinics to come, possibly interstate, international, we'll see. So from 2020 to 2023 now, there's been, a growth of 5 clinics throughout Sydney, an online store and product development on the way as well. So very exciting, although prior to 2020 is really when all the long hours behind the scenes, all the hard yards were done. Back to 2018 when I had my daughter, Gracie, who's now 5, I was doing mobile services. So I used to work in clinics in the eastern suburbs and go to work. And then I'd have my little backpack on and drive around Bondi and Coogee and see all my mates and their friends and just needle their skin legit, like 7 p.m. till midnight. And it sort of just rapidly grew from this idea to make extra money to pay rent to within a couple of weeks of having enough clients to really look at it and consider leaving my full-time job as a therapist.
Yeah. What was your full-time job? What were you doing before the mobile service?
Yeah, I was a senior manager at a franchised clinic, a well-known clinic in Sydney, who's one of the biggest, skin clinics in the country. And I'd worked my way up from a junior to a senior position quite quickly within the company. And I just, throughout that process, worked with every different modality within the industry, treatment-wise, and absolutely fell in love with skin needling in particular, being non-invasive, non-toxic, and so good for the body. So to me, to go and buy my machine and go out after work and do what I was passionate about was like, that's sort of where it was all born.
It's so interesting to hear that journey and evolution within itself, because actually that's how you and I met. You were doing one of your mobile services at a party, at a skin needling party, which never in my life did I think I would attend. It's the most Eastern Suburbs sentence that will ever come out of my mouth, but I was supporting a friend at the time, and that's how I met you. And it was just, I just saw all of that potential sort of explode in such a short amount of time. But why this industry? Why did you even begin in this industry?
Well, I mean, it started for me. This is a personal journey for me. I was about 16, 15 even. I think it was 15, and I was in high school, I think year 9, and I broke out in cystic acne. It was genetic. Myself, my 2 sisters, and my mother had cystic acne. So for 12 years, I battled cystic acne from the age of 15, and it completely affected my confidence. You know, I was completely vulnerable, insecure. Throughout high school, it was a really difficult time for me. So I was placed on Roaccutane at 15, which cleared up the acne, cleared my skin. I started to get a bit of confidence back. 2 years later, it struck again. Cystic acne, jawline, neck, chest, affected my confidence, like all sorts of sort of personal issues for that 10-year period, battling this acne for 10 years. So skin for me, and going on that personal journey of having such a, you know, a low self-worth and insecurity by, you know, hiding in the playground in the shade so people don't look at your skin, was happening to me. You know, I was insecure when girls were going on dates with boys. I was hiding at home with my skin and sort of just not knowing what to do. You know, as much as you like to think, when you've got cystic acne, you can't hide it, and people do notice it, and that's just the facts of it. So it does affect your confidence. Yeah. So over the journey of 10 years, going on and off Roaccutane 4 times, I started to notice the shift in my personality and my confidence when my skin was clear to when it was at its worst. And it's really a life-changing shift of that mindset of having confidence and loving yourself when you look in the mirror. You know, and in hindsight now, when I look back, maybe I could have focused on, you know, a little bit more of self-love and all those things, but you don't have those tools when you're a teenager. It's hard enough as it is. So sort of becoming obsessed with having clear skin, the obsession organically grew over that 10-year period. And it was at the age of 24, I finished high school, went into, was doing financial planning, hating the corporate world, did not fit in. It just wasn't for me as much as I tried to. Yeah, I found myself walking around Pimon at lunchtime with my headphones in, and I don't know, the office gossip just wasn't for me. It just didn't fit in. And then I was always going to like skin clinics in the CBD and reading their menus and fascinating about owning a skin clinic one day when I wasn't even in the industry at the time. I feel like it really was just a natural calling that I've always been, you know, this is what I've been put here to do, and to really build what I've built now and to help people change their lives through achieving clearer skin and skin confidence is where it all began. And that's why I do it. But yeah, at what, 24, I think I dropped out of my full-time corporate job. I enrolled to study my diploma of beauty therapy, got a job at my boyfriend's pub or hotel at the time in King's Cross, and instantly loved the bar work better than my corporate role. And then my skin journey and studies began. So I finished my diploma. I then enrolled in further studies and commenced my employment at a skin clinic as a junior. Kept studying, kept working, and over the next couple of years, my experience grew, and my passion for needling, for me, it was personal. I saw the results on myself above any other treatment that I had, and it being so holistic. It's non-injectables. We're not trying to dehumanize the face by filling it with products and freezing it in certain areas. It gives women their confidence back. It's suitable for men as well. The list just went on and on for me, and it just had a special place in my heart, to be honest. And I thought, all right, well, I never looked at it as a business. It was more, who can I do this for? And how can I, my transformation, how can I help other girls and men be in that position? You know, my little inner child still comes through, and I feel that teenage girl of that really, you know, that hard time that I went through, and paying that forward is what it's all about.
That was going to be my next question, really. Is it's so evident and it's so clear that the reason for your success is because you're so deeply connected to your purpose. And I think that's always going to be the calling card of success in today, especially today's time, especially. It's very clear that when you have an appointment with you personally, you like, I know from my experience, you feel that passion, you feel that purpose just from an energy perspective. Even you sit down in that, you know, or lie down on that table and you begin your work, and it's just, that's it. You are in your space. This is your room. You know what you're doing, and it's driven by so much love and so much purpose and fulfillment. Like, you can feel that as a customer. And you've definitely been able to share that amongst your team as well. So it's very much consistent. But I think purpose is so important. And it's such a big part of who you are. I mean, it's very clear. So when it comes to maintaining that connection to your purpose, what has that journey been like for you in just these last few years of vast growth? Because it was very quick and very big. How have you been in staying connected to your purpose through this time?
Oh, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, if we look at it from 2020, you know, once the first clinic was launched down in Cronulla in the Shire, it was a huge success. And my vision is to essentially go up and, I guess, why it's close with my purpose is because I want to go up and re-educate, you know, sort of beauty as we know it to date, which is unfortunately been a bit of brainwashing by, you know, bigger maybe pharma companies with the Botox and injectables and fillers. And I see these young, almost vulnerable women, you know, coming into clinics or going through a hard time, a divorce, or just reconnecting to themselves post children, and turning to instant fixes, fillers, Botox, all of that sort of thing, which to me isn't about, it's not skin health. There's no self-love. It can be sexualizing, which isn't, you know, the right objective. And I believe people can take advantage of people's vulnerability in this industry. When you're seeking help, you really, you know, if I just picture, you know, if that was me sitting there at 20 and I'm laying there and you've got somebody looking at me so insecure about my scarring or my skin, but recommending all these, you know, cosmetic treatments, which they can sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? They can cash in on, essentially, and leave you feeling vulnerable and scratching your head. I believe, you know, why is it important to me is because I want to offer something that actually is a solution and is real results and does make you feel better about yourself, you know, and focuses on the inner health as well, you know, the holistic approach, and not brainwashing you to think you need to go back every 3 months for an injection, a filler, and all of these things that, you know, ultimately aren't.
They're not working.
Yeah, no,
they're a Band-Aid. But I'm really happy you brought this up, because it was going to be something I really wanted to touch on, which is this generation of young women who are obsessed with getting their lips done, getting the Botox at a very young age. I mean, yeah. I'm 29, and I remember hiring an employee not so long ago who was 24, who walked in on a Monday with the biggest lips I've ever seen in my life and all this Botox. And she was just like, had just done it that morning or the night before or something. So she was like super inflamed. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, you're 24. Why?
Yeah.
For who?
Yeah.
What is the point? And she's just like, oh, all my friends do it. And, you know, like the guy I'm dating really likes it. And all this stuff. And I just thought, oh, this is so deeply upsetting for me. I could go on a spiral, but I can imagine you're seeing this so consistently, not just from, you know, acne and scarring, but also just there's absolutely nothing wrong with your face, with your skin, but they're going down this road of that perfectionism and vulnerability, like you expressed. I mean, how do you feel about what's changing and what's happening in that space?
It's so sad, Beck. Now that I've got a 5-year-old daughter, and this plays, it's so upsetting to see these young girls when I look at their skin and it's flawless. There is nothing to be freezing or injecting or filling at this age, and it makes me sad that people take advantage of this and sort of manipulate in a way to make you want to look like this. You want to be sexualized. We've had bad influences. We've been brainwashed with filters coming through as well. How many filters do you see on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it may be with these, high cheekbones and porcelain skin and, God forbid, what's that doing to our confidence and what's that doing to a young woman's identity? It's completely dehumanizing what we know and who we are as a person. And I just have to disagree with doctors and that are forcing this down a young woman's throat, essentially, they're forcing it down basically with this prevention.
It's the prevention statement. Yeah.
And it's very cowboy, and I just think it's
I'm so confused as to why women are listening to a man's opinion. Like, I've had a doctor tell me, oh, you're getting closer to 30, you should consider Botox for prevention. Like, actually said that to me. And I looked at him and told him to fuck off. But
I know. Back when I was 25 and I was working in skin clinics, and I've had Botox before. And when I was working there, I was 25. My skin was clear. I had no wrinkles. Obviously, I'm too young, and industry and advertisements and marketing made me believe that I should go and get some Botox. And everyone else is doing it, and I'm now 25 and I'm almost 30, so maybe I should go and do it. And I was at a low point. Instead of focusing on my self-love and who I am as a person and the positive things, you start to become insecure and focus on what everyone else is doing, and I should be doing that, because a lot of us are too afraid to ask the question of why and what are we actually putting in this body and in our bodies, and all of these other questions that should be asked.
I think it's a big part of the success you've built as well is your self-awareness and personal development journey. I think it's so important. As a founder, we are navigating